What if a simple act of bravery could flip your life upside down? Imagine being trapped in an elevator with a racist CEO and an expecting woman, only to have to step up and deliver a baby. How does this moment, so full of tension and irony, change your fate forever? On a crisp, busy morning, Jamari, a 12-year-old black boy, hurries through the sleek corporate building. He's been tasked with running an errand for his mother, who works as an assistant on one of the top floors. The building's shiny glass doors are a familiar sight, but they never quite feel like home. The polished floors, the sharp suits, the sleek offices, it all reminds him that he doesn't quite belong here. But his mother works hard every day in this place, so he's learned to push aside any discomfort. Today, he's just focused on getting his job done. He's rushing, trying to make sure he doesn't keep his mom waiting, and soon finds himself standing in front of the elevator. He presses the button, waiting for the doors to open. As he waits, he can hear the bustle of people moving around the building, their voices and footsteps creating a hum of energy. The elevator doors slide open with a soft ding, and Jamari steps inside. The interior is modern, sleek, with stainless steel walls and soft lighting. He presses the button for the 12th floor. As the doors close, Jamari leans against the wall, eyes fixed on the numbers lighting up above the door. The elevator begins its smooth ascent. It's quiet, with only the hum of the elevator's mechanism and the occasional faint sound of footsteps from outside. He exhales, momentarily relaxing, thinking about the errand he's about to complete. Suddenly, the elevator stops. It's a small jolt, not enough to make him panic, but enough to make him look up in confusion. The elevator is in between floors. For a moment, he thinks it's a glitch, but before he can push the emergency button, the doors slide open again. Jamari's eyes widen when a woman walks in. Tall, confident, and unmistakable. It's Ms. Albright, the CEO of the company where his mother works. She's known for her powerful presence, her impeccable style, and most notably, her reputation for being tough and occasionally cold, especially to people who don't seem to fit into her world. Miss Albright steps in, not sparing Jamari a glance as she adjusts her expensive handbag, her heels clicking on the floor. The doors close again, and the elevator continues its ascent. Jamari remains quiet, unsure if he should speak. He's heard enough from his mom's co-workers about Miss Albright's dismissive attitude toward people like him, people from the lower ranks, from a background that doesn't match her privileged one. Jamari shifts uncomfortably, glancing up at Miss Albright once again. She seems distracted, checking her phone, but then her expression changes. It's subtle at first, but Jamari can see it. Her face turns pale, and she presses her hand against her stomach. She breathes in sharply, a grimace crossing her face. The unease in the air is palpable. "Are you okay, ma'am?" Jamari asks, his voice cautious. Miss Albright doesn't answer right away. Instead, she lets out a shaky breath and presses her hand more firmly against her stomach. Her eyes widen. "I think I'm in labor," she says, her voice trembling slightly. Her body stiffens as she looks at him, her earlier composure slipping. Jamari's heart races. His mind spins. The woman, the powerful CEO who's always brushed him off, is in trouble, and he's the only one in the elevator with her. She's panicking now, and Jamari realizes that he must act fast. He's just a kid, and he's never been in a situation like this before. But the urgency in her eyes sparks something in him. He steps forward, his fear mixed with determination. "Hold on, Miss Albright," he says, trying to keep his voice calm. He reaches out, guiding her to sit down on the elevator's floor, all the while thinking about how, just moments ago, this space was a place of unease for him. Now, in this moment, he has the power to change the course of everything. The elevator jerks again as it moves, but Jamari barely notices. All that matters now is getting help, and somehow finding the strength to help this woman, even if the world she belongs to has never been kind to him. Jamari is a 12-year-old black boy, raised in a modest apartment in a neighborhood that has seen its fair share of struggles. His mother, a hard-working woman, does her best to provide for him and his younger sister, though money is always tight. Jamari's father passed away when he was young, leaving his mother to raise him alone. Despite the challenges, Jamari has grown up resilient, intelligent, and full of potential. From a young age, Jamari took it upon himself to help his mother with household chores, run errands, and pitch in wherever needed. His maturity and sense of responsibility made him a standout among his peers. He excelled in school, his curiosity about the world pushing him to learn more and dream bigger. Yet, despite his academic talents and hard work, Jamari faces prejudice and discrimination at every turn. Whether it's subtle looks from others or more blatant remarks, he's been made painfully aware of the barriers his skin color creates. Jamari is no stranger to being treated as less than in the eyes of society. But his mother's lessons on resilience and optimism have always kept him moving forward. Though his reality includes working odd jobs and helping his mom with her many tasks, Jamari dreams of a future beyond these limitations. He envisions becoming a doctor or even an inventor, someone who can break the cycle of poverty in his family. But for now, he continues to look for any opportunity that will allow him to make a difference, even in small ways. For years, Jamari has admired the tech company run by Ms. Albright, the wealthy CEO who built her empire from scratch. Jamari has often wondered what it would be like to work in her world, to be surrounded by wealth, power, and success. But he never imagined that one day his life would cross paths with hers in such a dramatic, life-changing way. Ms. Albright is a woman who built her multi-billion-dollar tech company from the ground up. Starting with an idea in her small office, she worked tirelessly to create an empire that now dominates the industry. Her success has made her one of the most powerful women in business, respected for her business acumen and cutthroat approach. However, as much as she has achieved, her rise to power has not been without its dark sides. Miss Albright's business empire was built on a foundation of elitism and exclusion, which she continues to foster. Her company, while massive and successful, has a long history of complaints from employees, particularly those from marginalized communities, regarding how they've been treated. Miss Albright's indifference to the struggles of people of color has earned her a reputation as a cold, calculating individual. Her world is one of privilege, where the elite are rewarded and the struggles of others are largely ignored. She has a tendency to view success as something that only belongs to those who are worthy, people who, in her view, have the same advantages she's had all her life. She rarely takes the time to consider the systemic barriers that others, especially people of color, face on a daily basis. Ms. Albright's tendency to overlook the hardships of others has made her somewhat isolated from the realities faced by people like Jamari. To her, people like him, from neighborhoods like his, are invisible unless they're part of the elite world she knows. Her perception of those who don't share her privilege is shaped by the belief that they are less than, simply because of where they come from or how much money they have. Yet despite her success, there is something deeply lonely about Miss Albright's world. She's so consumed by her ambition and personal gain that she's lost sight of the humanity that connects us all. Her moments of vulnerability are few, and she believes that in order to succeed, she must always keep others at arm's length, especially those who challenge the notion of power and privilege that she's worked so hard to build. The elevator ride begins as any other. Jamari, the 12-year-old boy, is riding it up in a sleek, polished corporate building, tasked with an errand for his mother who works in the building. As the doors close, he notices Miss Albright stepping in. She's a well-dressed, composed woman, radiating authority as she enters the elevator. Jamari takes a quiet spot in the corner, fidgeting with his phone as the elevator hums upward. But then, just a few moments later, Miss Albright suddenly winces and clutches her stomach in pain. She gasps, her face contorting with discomfort. Jamari looks up, his instincts telling him something's not right. He watches as Miss Albright shifts uncomfortably, her breathing growing heavier. "Are you okay?" Jamari asks, his voice laced with concern. His words break the tense silence between them. She sneers at him, her expression showing irritation. "What are you doing here, boy? Shouldn't you be working somewhere?" Her voice is condescending, dismissive, the words laced with the kind of disdain that Jamari has encountered countless times in his life. He's used to it by now, but there's something different about the way she speaks to him now. Urgent, impatient, like she doesn't want to deal with a child. Jamari stands quietly for a moment, unsure whether to respond. He watches her closely as she grips her stomach tighter, the pain growing more intense. Something in his gut tells him it's more than just a minor discomfort. Her breath quickens, and Jamari's concern deepens. "Listen, lady, are you sure you're okay? You don't look so good." She doesn't respond. Instead, her breathing comes in short gasps as she tries to steady herself against the wall. "I'm fine," she mutters through clenched teeth, but it's clear from her strained expression that she's not. Then, just as the elevator suddenly jerks to a halt between floors, the situation escalates. The elevator comes to a screeching stop, and Miss Albright lets out a strangled cry as her body tenses up again. Panic spreads across her face, and she grips her stomach harder. Jamari, noticing the sudden shift, instinctively steps toward her. "Lady, I think you need to calm down. You're about to have this baby, aren't you?" he says, his voice steady, though the gravity of the moment is not lost on him. Despite his age, his words hold weight. He's seen enough TV shows and read enough first aid books to know a few things about emergency situations. Miss Albright looks up at him, startled by the directness of his statement. She shakes her head, breathing unevenly. No, it's not possible. I can't." "Yes, you can," Jamari says with quiet authority. "You're in labor. We need to do something now." Her face is pale with shock and pain, and for the first time Jamari sees a crack in her normally cold demeanor. She stares at him, unsure what to do, and then with a trembling voice she nods. Okay, just get me out of here." Jamari, his hands slightly shaking but his mind focused, motions for her to lie back against the wall. "Just breathe. I'm here. You're going to be okay." As Miss Albright's breathing becomes more erratic, Jamari takes a deep breath himself. He remembers the basics he's seen on TV. Calm the person, make sure they're safe, and take charge. His voice is steady as he instructs, "All right, just breathe and listen to me. When you feel the next contraction, I need you to push, okay?" The minutes feel like hours as the tension in the elevator mounts. Miss Albright's cries are desperate, but Jamari doesn't falter. He remains calm, speaking to her gently, guiding her through the process. Her harsh words from earlier, mocking him for being a boy, for being beneath her, become distant memories. Now, he's the one person who can help her. Despite the overwhelming circumstances, Jamari shows a maturity beyond his years. He applies his knowledge and natural instinct, helping Miss Albright through the labor. The process is messy, chaotic, and anything but comfortable. But the moments pass, and before long, Miss Albright's baby is safely delivered into Jamari's steady hands. As the elevator doors finally open, emergency services rush in. Jamari stands over Miss Albright, his hands now holding the newborn, his face determined but calm. "What just happened here?" the paramedic says, eyes wide in shock. Jamari glances at him, his voice steady. "She was in labor. I helped her." In that moment, Jamari realizes that his life has just changed in ways he never could have imagined. As the ambulance doors slam shut and Miss Albright is rushed to the hospital, she remains silent, her thoughts lost in a whirlwind of disbelief. Her mind races, her body still shaken from the traumatic experience. But one thing stands out amidst the chaos: Jamari's calm and collected presence in the face of such a life-threatening situation. For hours, Jamari's actions are discussed and dissected across the news channels. A video of him helping Ms. Albright goes viral, capturing the moment when a young black boy, barely 12, steps up to save a high-powered CEO's life in an elevator. People from all walks of life are in awe, not just of Jamari's bravery, but of his kindness and resilience in the face of adversity. The video doesn't focus on the race or the class divide. It only highlights a young boy who rises above his circumstances to do the right thing. Jamari's phone begins to buzz non-stop with messages, many of them from his schoolmates, teachers, and even strangers who were moved by his selflessness. Some people express disbelief at how a child from a working-class neighborhood could perform such a remarkable feat, while others shower him with praise, calling him a hero. Yet Jamari remains humble, not fully grasping the magnitude of what he's just done. To him, it was just a moment when someone needed help, and he stepped up. But for Miss Albright, the moment is far from over. While she recovers from the birth, she has time to reflect on everything that happened. Her mind keeps coming back to Jamari's face. How, despite her rudeness and prejudice in the elevator, he put her life and her child's life above his own discomfort. She had always viewed people like him as lesser, dismissing them with a quiet arrogance, believing that people from his background didn't have the qualities that matched her world. The realization hits her hard. She had witnessed firsthand the kind of person Jamari truly was, and it couldn't be denied. His intelligence, his maturity, his capacity for empathy. She begins to ask herself why she had been so blind to the potential in people like him, why she hadn't seen the humanity in the people she had often dismissed. After several days of careful consideration, Miss Albright makes a decision that surprises even her. She reaches out to Jamari's mother. She wants to meet the boy again. When Jamari's mother picks up the phone, she's taken aback by the voice on the other end. Miss Albright, the same woman who had been so condescending toward Jamari only days before. But what Miss Albright says next changes everything. "Mrs. Williams, I wanted to thank you," Miss Albright begins, her voice uncharacteristically soft. "Your son saved my son's life. I never thought I would meet someone like Jamari. I've seen so many things in my life, but I've never seen someone so young, so brave, and so intelligent." She pauses before continuing. "I've had time to reflect on everything, and I've realized that I've been wrong. About him. About people like him. Jamari has qualities that I never even knew to look for in others, and I want to make it right." Ms. Albright's words are genuine, and Mrs. Williams, surprised, listens intently as she explains her decision. She wants to help Jamari reach his full potential. She wants to offer him a scholarship to one of the most prestigious medical schools in the country, ensuring he has access to opportunities that, up until now, seemed out of reach. I can't give him back the moments I missed, but I can give him the future he deserves, Ms. Albright says. I want to make sure that he has the resources to do whatever he wants, and I'm prepared to help him along the way. Jamari's mother, though skeptical at first, agrees to meet with Ms. Albright. The conversation is full of surprises, with Ms. Albright continuing to speak candidly about her past ignorance and how Jamari's bravery has sparked a change within her. She tells Mrs. Williams that Jamari is not just a boy she wants to help. He is a person who has changed the course of her thinking, someone she now sees as equal in value to anyone in her world. When Jamari is told of the scholarship offer, his first reaction is one of disbelief. He stares at his mother, his eyes wide. "This can't be real," he says, his voice a mix of excitement and doubt. But it is real, and soon enough, he is on a path toward a future he never imagined. "I never thought someone like me could have a chance at something like this," Jamari says quietly, reflecting on everything that's happened. His life has changed in ways that words cannot fully express, and he knows that his future is filled with new opportunities. But he also knows that none of it would have happened without that single, fateful act of bravery in the elevator. The moment that once seemed like a crisis became a transformative experience, not just for Jamari, but for everyone who witnessed it. Miss Albright's life is forever altered, and she vows to never forget what she learned about humility, bias, and the real meaning of greatness. Miss Albright's journey of change extends beyond just her personal transformation. Realizing how deeply ingrained her biases were, she takes swift action to ensure her company reflects the values of inclusivity, understanding, and diversity. She becomes a vocal advocate for diversity in hiring, leadership, and opportunities, beginning by overhauling her company's internal culture. She speaks publicly about her past behavior, offering a sincere apology for the way she dismissed people like Jamari. "I've seen the world through a very narrow lens," she admits in interviews. But that narrow view has been shattered by the courage of one child. Jamari showed me what real greatness is: humility, intelligence, and heart, and I'm committed to ensuring my company honors those qualities moving forward. In addition to restructuring her company's policies, Ms. Albright creates a mentorship program specifically for students from underprivileged backgrounds, offering them access to the same opportunities she once thought were reserved for only a select few. She partners with schools in low-income neighborhoods, encouraging young students to pursue careers in science, business, and technology, regardless of their background. Ms. Albright's work has a ripple effect across industries. Her advocacy for change influences other business leaders, many of whom join her in committing to diversity and providing scholarships, internships, and employment opportunities to students like Jamari. She frequently speaks at schools and conferences, urging those in positions of power to challenge their own biases and create spaces where people from all walks of life are valued. Meanwhile, Jamari's life takes an unexpected turn. His dream of becoming a doctor, something that once seemed impossible, is now within reach. With the scholarship from Ms. Albright and the additional support from various community leaders who were moved by his bravery, Jamari embarks on his journey to medical school. His story is shared in the media, and Jamari becomes a local hero, not for his academic success, but for the way he embodied qualities of bravery, kindness, and resilience. He's invited to speak at various community events and schools, inspiring young people from all walks of life to believe in themselves and strive for excellence, regardless of the obstacles in their way. Even as he moves forward in his studies, Jamari remains connected to Ms. Albright, who continues to be a mentor and supporter. They meet frequently, discussing everything from medical research to how to break down barriers for students from underserved communities. The bond that started in the elevator continues to grow, with Jamari recognizing that, while Ms. Albright's support has given him an incredible opportunity, it's his own hard work, integrity, and belief in himself that will truly shape his future. As Jamari progresses in his studies, he remembers the lessons he learned in that elevator, the strength to act in the face of adversity, the power of standing up for what's right, even when it seems like the world is stacked against you, and the reminder that true greatness is not about wealth, status, or influence. It's about character, humility, and a commitment to doing the right thing. Jamari's journey isn't just about becoming a doctor. It's about changing the narrative for children like him, showing them that they are worthy of opportunities and that their voices matter. He plans to use his success to advocate for others, offering mentorship and support to those who need it most. Through Jamari's story, the lesson is clear. Greatness comes not from the privileges afforded to you, but from your ability to rise above, to help others, and to believe in the power of change. Jamari's life is just beginning, but the impact he's already had is immeasurable. The ripple effect of Jamari's bravery is felt far beyond the walls of the elevator that day. His story spreads like wildfire, inspiring not just the people who witnessed the incident, but communities far and wide. His courage in the face of adversity becomes a beacon for those who have been overlooked, dismissed, or marginalized, especially for children who, like him, are often told that they are not enough. As Jamari progresses through his medical studies, he transforms from a symbol of hope to an active agent of change. He doesn't forget where he came from, and he never stops working to create opportunities for others like him. Whether it's through mentorship, charity work, or simply being a voice for the voiceless, Jamari understands the power of using his platform for good. Miss Albright, once a woman of privilege whose world revolved around the elite, becomes one of his strongest allies. She sees the potential in Jamari that she had once overlooked, and together they forge a partnership rooted in empathy, respect, and understanding. Through her foundation, she continues to support young students from underrepresented backgrounds, helping them break the barriers that once held them back. Jamari's future is no longer limited by the confines of his past. Every step he takes is a testament to the strength he found in that pivotal moment in the elevator. As he walks through his college campus, he carries not just the weight of his own dreams, but the dreams of those he's promised to help along the way. His success isn't just about what he achieves for himself. It's about paving the way for others who will follow in his footsteps. The final scene is a montage of Jamari's journey, his first day of medical school, the smiles of the children he mentors, and the grateful families whose lives have been touched by his work. As he crosses the campus on his way to class, Jamari reflects on how far he's come and how far he still has to go. He's no longer the boy trapped in a moment of tension. He's a young man, confident in his purpose and ready to change the world. The camera pans out, showing Jamari standing tall amidst a sea of students, his future unfolding before him. In the distance, we see Miss Albright, who's made a point to support not only his education, but his continued growth. She watches with pride as Jamari continues on his path, knowing that the impact he's made is just the beginning. The final line echoes in the background, a reminder of Jamari's true power. True power isn't in wealth or status. It's in the choices we make to help those around us. In that moment, Jamari is more than just a young man chasing a dream. He is a living testament to the power of kindness, courage, and the belief that everyone, regardless of their background, deserves a chance to succeed. His life, now full of promise, will forever be a symbol of how one act of bravery can ripple through time, changing not only one life, but the lives of countless others along the way.